Alright, well, after a pretty significant amount of time of being pummeled over the head with the impeachment narrative, I think it's a good idea to take a breath, relax, and sober up a bit, and talk about the underlying issue in much of this, which is the presidency having too much power to begin with. Now, Democrats are obviously upset with Trump, hysterically upset with him, in fact, and okay, fine. But in the next breath, you have the Democratic presidential candidates, specifically Elizabeth Warren, talking about everything they want to do in their first 100 hours, if not within their first 24 hours. And these are gigantic things, some of which might not be so terrible. The legalization of marijuana, for example, we might see as something that Bernie Sanders advocates for. But some of which are terrible. The forgiveness of student loan debt, which is an utter slap in the face to responsible people who saved money, made the right choices, and timed their decisions right. But those who put no forethought into what they were doing, they get a nice big handout. Not the best signal to be sending out to society, I don't think. Or how about the banning of fracking everywhere that Elizabeth Warren has advocated for, which would just put us right back into the grips and into the hands of theocracies in the Middle East. But the real point here is, as hysterical as the Democrats have been over Trump, what they're essentially doing here is saying, I want to get into the White House and keep bringing us further down this path where the presidency has near ultimate power. I, as president, should be able to make immediate, unilateral decisions that would instantaneously have a multi-trillion-dollar effect on the economy. And don't worry, we figured out all the kinks, nothing bad is going to happen. So what a strange narrative that they've been spewing. On one hand, we have accusations that Trump is a monarch or a totalitarian dictator or a despot. Yet on the other hand, Democrats are actively advocating for them to be the ones with their hands on an even greater amount of power when it comes to the presidency. They want to be the ones who are able to wield an unprecedented amount of influence over everyone. So this really has nothing to do with Trump or whether or not Democrats really think he's a monarch. They are not really upset with the amount of power he has. In fact, they want the position he holds to be exponentially more powerful. It's just that they want to be the ones wielding it. That is all it comes down to. If they were truly upset with Trump and what he does and how much influence he has, then the first thing on their to-do list would be to fight for the diminishment of presidential power, but that goes against their interests, as they love the power, just not when it isn't in their hands. Now, this is also a warning that everyone should heed, especially those who look to the government to solve every problem under the sun, and especially to those who don't like Trump, yet want Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren in office. If you want Warren to get into office and wield all this power to do what you feel is benevolent, and you trust that she's thought through every implication and every possible undesirable consequence, and you think it's going to be great having Warren laying waste to entire industries that you and her both don't like, okay, if you think that that's going to be a good thing, then just prepare yourself for when another president that you think is a monarch or a dictator gets a hold of those reins of power. Because it's not if, it's when. If you think it'll be great for Warren or Sanders to get into the Oval Office and just further this precedent of more and more executive control, then get ready for another Trump or another Bush or a Rick Santorum, God forbid, or some warmonger who thinks along the lines that Bolton does. Prepare for them to enter into an Oval Office that was made even further into a machine of pure control by your beloved Democratic candidate. So that is why, even if you have a politician in your life that you just love dearly, which is weird, but people have that, I guess, you should always be advocating for them to have less power and less control, because by giving them more power, you are just clearing the path for someone else who you can't stomach or who you think is dangerous. You're just clearing the path for those people to have that increase in power and that decrease in constraint. But that is all for now. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And please take it easy.